Welcome back. I'm Jeff Lewandowski.
Brett Blackman, Merkle Institute. All right, so today we're working on our top and our tail of our videos.
Working.
It's probably not going that well, but anyway.
Enjoy
All right,
the
so
outtakes.
there's a lot going on in the blockchain world.
Absolutely.
Disaster, run, fire, jump off a cliff.
It's crazy. It's
I think you'll still burn underwater.
You know, there's another government that's going to ban cryptos. Did you hear that?
What?
India this time.
India.
Yeah. Not South Korea, but India this time. Not Russia, not the United States, but this time it's India.
India. I might have read something about that. Something about you can't use cryptocurrency for illegal activities.
I don't know why they'd want to ban that.
I mean, unless you're John Mack.
He's right there. I mean, they just don't want being honest about it, I
I mean,
suppose.
it's legal if you're using cryptocurrencies, right? Because you're not actually paying for it because it's not currency.
That's exactly right. However, I do have to tell you, I've got a credit card hooked up to Coinbase.
Okay.
And I just received an email today that was absolutely...
Oh, the banks are banking it again.
Well, the credit cards.
Yeah.
So credit cards have changed the transaction fee from a purchase of a good to considering it as a purchase of a cash advance, which has a higher rate on it, but it also says something else to me. It says that they're treating the purchase of a cryptocurrency as purchasing or pulling cash.
Yeah. But it's a commodity.
Right. Who knows?
It's
the wild, wild west. That's why I love it.
Is there going to be a class action lawsuit then? Because, like, if it's a commodity, if I'm like, I don't understand how that works.
Yeah, again, there's a lot to sift through in the legalese and how this whole thing's going to be.
Okay, so Facebook yesterday, banned it, right?
So
ICOs.
Yeah, so I have a hypothesis on this, and the hypothesis is that it all kind of relates back. So I don't know if you follow Charlie Lee. I mentioned you probably do, but he basically came out and said he's selling all of his Litecoin because he didn't want there to be a perceived conflict of interest.
I heard that.
There's been other rumors out there that Litecoin will be the payment system of some massive processor. Amazon's been in the mix, and then further with the banning of the advertisements of ICOs. So the two theories that are out there are, one, it's Litecoin and it's Charlie Lee becoming part of that whole outfit, or two, that Facebook is going to create its own because it already has a distributed network of millions and millions of people, and so they're going to Facebook coin or something like that, which is interesting.
Well, if you actually read the ban, so yesterday our Health Splash company, everything that was boosted got banned.
Really?
Everything. And we don't talk about ICO at all. It's just the word blockchain. So we went through and appealed everything, and we won all of our appeals. I'm like, time out, guys. You actually said in the ban, hey, you can't advertise ICOs. Okay, fair. There's a lot of junk out there. And, you know, I mean, and there needs to be, the industry is maturing, and it's maturing fast, and that needs to happen. But in their fine print, it says we absolutely, or something along those lines, I forget the exact words, believe in the blockchain technology, and we don't want to harm companies that are utilizing blockchain technology because we are interested in blockchain technology in the future.
You know, that's interesting. I wonder also if the BitConnect class action suits that are probably forming as we speak.
What was the other one? Munchie or Munchie or whatever?
I'm not sure.
MUN just went down with a 600 million on there because they started to it came out as a utility, but then the way they were handling their stuff, they weren't. I don't know exactly what all they did. But.
So I wonder if it's a risk mitigation strategy from Facebook, and the attorneys saying, look, we're the big fish out here. If somebody wants to put blame, they'd say that we were complicit because we allowed BitConnect to be an advertising on our network.
I was talking to an advertiser, a media buyer yesterday, who said that because of that, as well as other websites aren't allowing ICOs to advertise now.
Interesting.
Hopefully, though, what happens with this is that the bad actors get out.
Yeah.
Because there's nowhere to make money anymore and steal money, which is what they were doing. And that leaves, the companies that are actually doing something and actually legitimate with real operations, real products, real services, better off, and everybody, and those who survive that, very similar to kind of, I don't want to say it's like the dot-com bust, But it's kind of like the .com bust in a way that all the nobody's buying cool.com for $25 million just because you have a domain.
Right.
Now you're going to be buying the Amazons and at that time the AOLs of the world because they're actually doing something with the technology.
And I think it'll be just like that. I think we talked about it before in that, maybe 85% of all the tokens and coins out there will go away, very much like all the domains and the companies that had nothing in the .com era. I believe that's probably going to happen. And if you take that as a script, as a risk management officer within a company, and there's any linkage to the class action lawsuits that ensued all through into the 2000s, I think that might probably be the most pertinent case of why Facebook pulled some of that off.
Who knows? But I do know, and thank you, Facebook, for letting some of our regular stuff go, like You Own You campaign, and we have one called Cure Healthcare campaign, which has nothing to do with ICOs or anything. We do tag it as blockchain, but it's because we're a blockchain company using blockchain technology. So, Merkle Institute started publishing a bunch of stuff on Facebook yesterday. Did you see any of that?
I didn't see any of that.
Well, maybe because he's probably not a fan.
Or he doesn't have his own Facebook page.
Oh! That is probably the... I forgot, Yeah. So Facebook community, you do know one person that does not have a Facebook page.
Never had one. We've got one for the company, but I don't have one personally. My wife takes care of most of the social interactions within that community.
Was that your wife was probably posting all day yesterday, all kinds of Merkle stuff.
She's all up in Merkle.
To her eyeballs in Merkle.
So let me pull it back for a second. We started out, it was a major down day, obviously, in the market with the news. And here's a part that I love, or maybe I don't love, is absolute BS about the way media works. So something happens. The market goes up, market goes down, and all of a sudden you get all those pundits and talking heads talking about, it went down because. Mm-hmm. The realization is that no one knows the reason why. They know what happened, but they don't know the reason why. So, for example, the market may have gone down. There may have been a huge whale that owned Bitcoin that just decided today was the day he's going to buy his mansion and he needed to cash out and get some, and it just happened to correspond with some random headline out of India. And so people.
Do you have an insight on this?
I don't. I
just wondered if you knew the whale.
No. Well, I dropped a little bit. No. So. The reasons why, causation does not equal, or correlation rather, does not equal causality. And whenever you hear a reason why, I'm a firm believer that there's cycles. And so that's why technical analysis works. Technical analysis doesn't care what the headline is. But
John McAfee says that doesn't work on crypto.
Oh my God, it probably works better than any other market I've ever seen it work in.
Okay, so you go back to technical analysis, and we're not investors or traders or blah, 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 right?
Or recommending
anything or any of that
in the market.
Now, after we said our speech there, I actually went back today and looked, and I was kind of looking a couple nights ago to find out what was going on. I use tradeview.com, or I think it's tradeview or tradeviewing.com. I don't know, saved in my links. And I've got the paid membership or whatever there because I do use it for technical analysis. And back in the day, I learned how to trade stock options and futures at 15, and I made money through that for a while. So I kind of understand a little bit. And so I went back and looked, and right now it blew through. It bounced pretty hard at our 100-day average.
Yeah.
And but the moment it broke through that, it is on its way down to our 200-day average, which over the period of the last couple of years, it's only done that a couple of times below the 100-day. It usually stays above the 50 or definitely above the 100. The last time it went to and bounced off the 200-day average was in August of 2015 through October, I think it was like 12th, if I remember right, is when it went back above the 200-day average, and it's never been below it again.
Yep.
So my guess is, and I was kind of looking at, there's a really interesting, so since December 20th to today, so it's about 6 weeks, 12 days, it was at around 8,300, 8,400. And the 200-day average is on its way to 83 to 8,400, which means it is, to fall below 8,400, it has to blow through the 200-day average, which it hasn't done in two years.
Right.
And through a floor They had 12 days, so basically 2 weeks of the last 6, it has hit and bounced from. So it's like, wait, you know,
It's a pretty hard
that's
floor.
a pretty hard floor. And the downfalls, if it goes through that floor, I mean, the bottom, I didn't go into
either.
I don't know where that's at. It could be 6,000, which I've heard 3,000. I've heard one guy I saw charged at $1,200. Dude, I'm telling you, if it drops to $1,200,
yeah.
I am buying so much.
I'd pull out that
Bitcoin.
second mortgage on the house.
Oh, I'm doing everything. I don't think it's going to go below that
either.
$8,000 mark.
I don't either.
And then I went back and looked and said, okay, what happens after that after it bounces off that either 100-day or 200-day average? And the return after that in a very short period of time is almost triple.
Yep. If you take a look, one of my favorite economists who we talked about before is Mark Armstrong.
Yeah.
And so he talks about this thing that happens in markets. And again, people forget, but economics is a social psychology or a social study. What's the word I'm looking for? I can't even think of it. It's a study of like psychology, and like it's not a hard science like math. It's a study of how people react and interact with money. And so they have different reactions, which again,
and then we have about a
2
week memory.
Yeah, right. That's exactly right. But he basically has a hypothesis in the work that he does that you need to crash and burn, and once you crash and burn past a certain point, there's a slingshot that happens everywhere he's seen it in markets. And so he looks for it in the precious metals. He's been spot on, and he's actually called for it within the U.S. markets. And he said we're on our way to another slingshot move that he's talking about just in the Dow and the S&P. On up through.
Well, we talked 30,000.
Yeah.
You and I talked about that almost a year ago.
That's right. And he's been spot on since then. But what the market is doing right now within the crypto space is very similar to what he's talking about, and hitting that point, hitting the 8,000 point, that far of a retracement where everybody starts talking about crypto is dead, is never going to work anymore, is what you need to get the slingshot move, which I think we're heading toward.
Which I absolutely agree, because the thing you have to think about is unless something fundamentally changed, then it will rebound.
Yeah.
So let's go back to fundamentals. Has Bitcoin changed? Has the crypto markets changed? Personally, I don't think so. 2 things really came out to me in the last couple of days that I heard.
Yeah.
I haven't verified either one of these. They've just been sent to me through messaging or an article. I haven't even had time to read them in depth. I heard one, Arizona is looking at accepting Bitcoin for tax payments.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. And second, today, the European nation, I guess, is going to start accepting or somehow converting the euro or merging the euro and the Bitcoin in some way, shape, or form. Somebody sent me that message today, too. I haven't had time to look at it. But either way, you have governments that are looking at trying to somehow be involved in the crypto space. So you've got some that are absolutely scared of it. And those that we're talking about India, everybody's freaking out about India.
Yeah.
But the problem you need to understand with India has such a huge black currency market already because of the way they've managed their currency. There's before cryptocurrency, they had an entire underlying currency. It was,
they banned gold.
Yeah,
and that's like the huge. That's jewelry. You can see that gold is huge.
All I know is you got to take that crap off the top of your palace. You know, so but you're right. So they already have a currency issue. So the countries that have currency issues, dead afraid. That makes sense. The ones, which I don't know exactly why the euro is going to do something because they have a major problem as it is, but the ones that understand that you're not going to get rid of it, they're going to start figuring out how to adopt it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't think fundamentally we've gotten anywhere. There's nothing different today than there was when it was at 750 billion as a market cap towards the 450 billion it is today. I don't see any fundamental changes.
Well, how about our favorite state of Wyoming?
I love it. Oh, Wyoming. I wish I knew their song, but absolutely love Wyoming.
It sounded good. It was a good start.
Yeah, I started. That's all I got. I've had LLCs in Wyoming for years.
Yeah.
They're one of the 1977. They came out with the first LLC laws.
Yeah.
And everybody asks, why are all your LLCs in Wyoming? It's like, well, because they have the oldest LLC laws in the country.
And a beautiful state park.
Great. I've actually been there.
I've not.
Yeah.
It's on the list.
Yeah, been there. It's, they've come out and basically said that They're not going to, what was the whole term? I'd have to go back and read it again, but they're not going to, it's not a currency,
Yeah.
and it's not a commodity, and it's prepaid cards.
Yeah. Yep. It's equivalent. And so if you're not regulating prepaid cards, we're not going to regulate cryptocurrency in the state of Wyoming.
So now let's go to Wyoming and let the state battle the feds. And that way you don't have to be in the middle of it.
Yeah. It's an interesting deal. Lots of stuff in the news again. Just to probably close us out a little bit here. I know we've covered a lot today. We wanted to make sure we got in there and talked a little bit about what was happening with the supposed reason that crypto was dropping. It looks like it's basing, and our expectation is that it goes up significantly into March.
I think by the end of March to the middle of April, depending. I mean, I was looking at timelines and everything else. If it's not, so somebody asked me like, okay, where's the next ceiling? Where's the next floor? I was looking at it very, very quickly. The next ceiling and floor is going to be once it comes down to that 8,400 mark or so, 8,000 mark.
Which it came close to today.
83, 81.
Is that right?
It got there and immediately bounced back up to 88.
Yeah.
But it's hit it. But it's all about closing. It's where it closes at. But
it doesn't close.
They run it on the same cycle. So the market actually has that. That's how you get your day stops in your coin market cap.
Well, that's just a moving 24-hour cycle.
But they have day closes, so they document at that moment in time a close and then an open, so otherwise there is never a close. But that way you can have a beginning and end for your candlesticks.
Okay.
So, but next one is like 11.6, 11.8, I believe. I'm doing this off of memory. Then it jumps up to around 14.4, then 16.8, somewhere in that range. Once it hits that 16.8 mark, if it closes above that mark, and again, I'd have to go back and there's other guys that do this much better, like Data Dash. I'm a huge fan. I've watched a lot of his stuff. Once it goes above that, next stop is probably 22 to 24,000. It'll hit a ceiling at 20 because big evens.
Yeah.
But it probably won't. It'll bounce a couple of times and go down after that, but it'll blow through that 20,000 mark because it's already been there once.
I believe that.
Next stop's
just short. It didn't come just shy. Wasn't it like
19.8, 19.6, something like that. Yep. Again, it gets scared. Everybody psychologically gets scared at big evens. So 10, 15, 20, those are all going to be, always some sort of ceiling in some way, shape, or form. Could be very short-lived, but it will bounce on those. So yeah. I think you'll see a $1 trillion market cap probably by the next 60 to 90 days.
Yeah, I think that's probably right.
I think you'll see a Bitcoin somewhere in the neighborhood of, I don't know, probably 20,000 plus.
Agreed. 90 days out.
60,
I'm with
90
you.
days out. Yeah,
I'm with you.
at least.
I'm with you.
And I don't know about you, since I don't own any Bitcoin IRS. Just kidding.
In my play account.
Yeah, right. In my testnet.
Test account. Fun game. Fun game.
It's completely on the testnet. I know everybody's freaking out on their positions if you look at your position compared to the USD. But is your
relative to the rest of the
yeah. But is your position relative to the Satoshi? Is it actually down? I'm not.
Yeah.
Now, I will absolutely take a loss on taxes. Because my USD value is down, but my Satoshi level is actually up.
I'm with you, and I am actually up as well, primarily due to my favorite of all, Populous.
Populous is killing it.
Yep.
Absolutely killing it. What do you think? Okay, last but not least, what do you think of Salt? So
Salt is interesting to me. I'm trying to figure out, are they going to actually start rolling out some of these
21
loans?
million.
They did 20. They've done 21 million loans
so far.
I don't know. It's a great concept. I love the leadership team. The leadership team is absolutely top notch. I have a little bit myself. I think we talked about that in my play account, of course. But that's because I was actually looking for some lending against it. I was not necessarily getting in it for a position that would appreciate.
Right.
I think it's going to do well. I don't have the confidence that I have in Populous and in Litecoin with Salt.
Well, I went through all the technical from MACDs to wedges to everything 2 nights ago.
Yep.
Just on all, I have about 25 that I pay attention to that I really like, and I only check them about once a week, if that. I'm long term. I buy, hold, sit. I'm not worried about it. But out of everything, Ethereum scared me because it's absolutely done well holding itself, but I think it's absolutely overvalued at the moment.
Which is interesting that it's done better than almost all the rest of them during this downturn.
Well,
it's up 30% on the year, I think.
And he did it. He did it because he came out with that big bounty on trying to get us.
Everybody else. In there.
So everybody's paying attention to it because he came out and publicly said, okay, we got to scale up. We got to make this better. We got to move to to proof of stake from proof of work. So the excitement was there, which is why I think it stayed through the downside. But will it stay there? And I don't know. It's so far above the 50, 100, and 200-day average. I mean, it is so overbought at the moment because it's the only one staying.
Yeah.
The moment the market starts swinging, you're going to see Ethereum tank and Bitcoin go up along with everything else. But when I was looking at everything, Salt literally had the absolute perfect wedge.
Is that right?
Yeah. Which, if you don't know,
and it's down below
$5.14
below its last pre
ICO
point.
Oh, it's. I mean, unless they go out of business, which they're not. I mean, they're doing loans right now, so just not enough. I think is the issue. I liked it because it was the perfect wedge. If you're not familiar, a wedge basically means you have the top side and bottom side of your candlesticks meeting together at some endpoint, and they bounce back and forth as they get down there. The downfall is what you want to look at is a wedge means there's going to be a breakout. Breakout means either up or down.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And the only way you can kind of predict is if you have less on the top or more or less on the bottom. And so the way it looks like it's going to seriously do a breakout to the upside. That would be my guess because you're also going to look at
I would guess that
you're going to look at your RSI and you're going to look at your MACD, and everything it says is that it's going to have a breakout. Because if you actually think about it, they're one of the first companies actually doing something on the blockchain.
Yep. By the way, MACD is his dog.
Yeah. Yo, what's up, MACD? So pretty interesting. Well, I know this isn't being long. We're going to probably try to cut these down a little bit. 20 minutes is pretty long to listen to us talk, but I have fun. I have fun. I mean, I need at least 30 minutes of video just so I can walk on the treadmill tomorrow.
There we go. We'll critique ourselves during that exercise because 2018 is also the year of the workout.
Oh, is it?
It is, isn't it?
At least for me. Every year in January is the year of the workout.
It isn't for me. This is the first year in a long time I've actually had one of those. I'm going to get back in shape for the year. I didn't necessarily start on Jan 1 like everybody else does, but
I usually start December 30th.
Yeah. Because you're just a straight shooter with upper management right now.
Yeah, start December 30th, quit January 1st. I mean, it works every year. I can always do things for 2 days.
There you go. Well, anyway, we'll close this out. Once again, thanks for watching, and stay tuned. We'll have another video up very shortly.
Yeah, make sure you like our channel and comment below. Thanks.